Hey guys, Southern Sage again. So yesterday we talked about the proportions of things you should plan in your Survival Garden 2025. Today I want to talk about the first and largest of those three categories we discussed. The calorie dense, easy storing, mostly root crops, although winter squash goes in here too. So these are the things that you can pick from the garden, basically put on a shelf. They don't require a lot of handling and they'll keep for months. So this should be half of your survival garden. So the kind of top handful of things here are all root crops. Sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, beets, carrots, turnips, parsnips, all of those. The only exception in this category really is the winter squash group. So butternut squash, pumpkins, spaghetti squash. There's a host of them. Tennessee sweet potato squash is a personal favorite. So for all of the squashes, you harvest them when they're ready, and they're ready whenever your fingernail does not easily puncture the outer shell of the squash. Set it out to dry outside for a day or so. Bring it in the house, set it on a shelf somewhere. The squash will be happy at the same temperature you are. Sweet potatoes are basically the same. Dig them up, let the skins dry, don't wash them off. You can knock the dirt off of them, but don't actually get them wet. Do not scrub the skins. They need that crust and they need the skin intact to store well. So just take them out of the garden, knock the dirt off, put them in one layer in, I like milk crates, old drawers, old plastic, drawer cabinets. Anything like that will work. You can put them on a board under a bed. They are happy at the same temperature you are. So 60 to 80 degrees, reasonably dry. So sweet potatoes are super easy. They're also extremely well suited to Kansas. When we're talking about, gold star vegetables in the survival garden, sweet potatoes are money. Regular potatoes, or Irish potatoes that we're used to eating, are a little more finicky. So same thing as sweet potatoes. You dig them, you knock off the dirt, don't wash them. Let them dry in the shade, not the sun. If you didn't already know, when regular potatoes are exposed to the sun, the skins start developing chlorophyll, they turn green, and that compound has something in it that is toxic to you. So if you set your potatoes out in the sun and they turn green, when you eat them, they might make your stomach upset. They're not going to kill you. It's not that level of toxin. So those need to come in, but they need to be cooler. So they really need to go in a basement or under a bed in a cold part of the house. They're not going to last very long at normal room temperatures that most of us are comfortable with. But as a benefit, you can plant them twice in the year. So you can do spring potatoes, which most people are aware of, planted around this time of year, right? March, April, and harvested somewhere along about the 4th of July. But you can go right back in with regular potatoes in July for a harvest in October or November even. So potatoes definitely win, and those winter ones are a whole lot easier to keep because the house is naturally cooler in the winter. And then the last family to talk about today is all of those other root vegetables. So parsnip, carrot, beet, turnip, all of these, if you plant them for the fall, you can keep in the garden. Okay, so if you plant them in the spring and you're pulling them in the summer, they're going to have to go in a refrigerator somewhere, or they're going to get really soggy and nasty. But in the fall planted garden, you can leave them in the ground, cover them with a box of some kind. This could be an old plastic tote, something like that, with a whole bunch of mulch in it. My favorite was using cold frames, right? I just set the cold frame box, pack the whole thing full of old hay or straw or whatever mulch I was using, and close it up. So the box is there to keep the critters from getting in and eating your roots instead of you. The mulch is there to insulate the ground so that it'll stay thawed, and you can just go out and pull up those roots all winter long, and they will stay beautifully crisp and delicious in the garden. Most of them will even get more tasty. So there you go. My top few calorie, mostly root crops. How you save them? Get them in your garden. Survival Garden 2025. Like, subscribe, let me know what you want to hear about next down below.